Hello, please let this be working. Please let this be working. This is, yep. If you have no idea what on earth you're tuning into, this is Luke Hector from the Broken Meeple, and this is me testing out StreamYard. So things are a little bit all over the shop. I mean, the laptop's here, the webcam's here, and the microphone's here with apparatus and all that lot, but I have no idea if the audio is any good. I don't know if this is even appearing on YouTube outside of a very pixelated image of me on my phone. So I honestly, is that any good or not? But yeah, this is a normal Q&A session. I've got some Patreon questions to ask, and obviously I welcome anybody to put stuff in the comments to let me know how you're doing. So in fact, one's just commented, so let me just check if this works. Hey, just a simple hello, but that works. Yeah, I'm testing out the new StreamYard platform that I've subscribed to. So thankfully, the Patreons helped me get to the goal that I needed for being able to do this. And, thank you to all the Patreons who have managed to help me with this. And the problem is that I'm still new to it. And the only way I'm going to get good with it is with experience. Dice Tower and everybody else make it look so easy. I am literally playing it by ear. I've watched a webinar, I've played around with the software, but I've not actually sat down with all this and checked, does it work? As far as I can tell, the microphone works, and as far as I can tell, the camera works. So not a problem. So yes, good evening, Vala, Gems, and David. But basically, this is not only just a Q&A, it's also me trying to play around with the software while I'm on this, just to see what I need to change. So, I mean, with stuff like this, for example, I can show people's comments. I've branded it red at the moment. I don't have a proper branding on this yet, but then I can also sort of update it to, Gems and Biscuits that will comment, and then David's one. So I can bring up people's avatars and comments on screen, which is pretty cool. That helps me with the, shall we say, the, what do you call it? The interaction. Yeah, the interaction. But on top of that, if I'm not doing comments, I can also put in like little tickers or banners on here. So I mean, I've actually made some preliminary ones for when I want to do top 10s live with guests. That is hopefully a future thing. Board Game Ramblings and I are looking into doing that at some point, but it means that I can put something like this on the bottom of the screen. So Luke's number 10 is whatever. I say insert game here because I know my list, but for a guest I'm not going to be able to see the list ahead of time because I want to be surprised. So their one is essentially insert guest name here, insert game here, and I will literally have to type it out while they're talking. So this will probably be a bit of a mission in terms of, shall we say, workload while doing a stream, but hopefully it will be a bit more interesting and sort of in your face as the OBS stuff was. But that was top 10s. What else have I got on here that I've created? I've got some stuff for... I know I bought some, got some stuff for Q&A. So, for example, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Consider becoming a Patreon message as normal. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So, I mean, tell you what, why don't I just leave that one going for a bit? But yeah, so it's all a little bit kind of basic currently, but I am looking into possibly getting a theme for this, like purchase one or something, because when it comes to graphic design on Photoshop, I am creatively bankrupt. So I'm not exactly the best one for it. But one thing I can do, for example, let me just, let's see. So I've got screen shared to a site. So let's see what this works. Woohoo! Hey, and I'm back down. So with this, I can basically, these are some of the templates on StreamYard itself. And I mean, they're not the most, shall we say, cost-effective ones ever. Certainly not from a pricing point, because each of these are kind of like, $50 a piece, and I'd rather not have to spend so much money on a theme. But with this, I can actually at least, kind of see, I can see some good themes there, some good banners, stuff that looks nice in the background. I can customize the colors. So I have like a starting soon, titles, thanks for watching, be right back, stuff like that. But $50 is even with Patreon money, that's quite a lot to kind of get into that swing of things. But there's other sites as well, and they're kind of similar in terms of pricing, but I'm just not the best at doing stuff on Photoshop myself. I would much rather get someone to do it for me, or buy a set and just customize it myself. It's how I work with all my video intros and that on After Effects and Premiere Pro when I do my videos. So, we'll have to see whether I decide to pull the plug on getting my wallet out and buying a theme, or hiring somebody who is much better at creative design to do some stuff for me and has StreamYard experience. That would be quite nice. Coffee today. Decadent coffee. I forget. I think it's a Colombian bean this time. It's decaf. So hopefully I'm not going to be quite as high on there. So hello, Craig. How you doing? Funny enough, Coffee Maker 1978, and I've just talked about coffee. I did not see that. That was completely coincidental. But thanks for tuning in to the Q&A. In regards to questions, I've got a few Patreon ones to answer first. So certainly, David, just keep that one in mind, and I'll let you know when I need sort of YouTube comments to come in. But yeah, I've had a few Patreons give me some questions this time. But yes, I do agree, Gems. They are a bit pricey, which is why I'm not as keen on using the purchased theme if I can help it. But do I know anybody who's a graphic designer and could do it for me for cheaper? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm paying someone to do it for me because work is just crunching me at the moment. Ridiculous. Like, the closer we get to the 31st of January, which is our tax deadline, the worse it is for me. And I'm off for a week at Christmas as well. So I've got 3 weeks before I break off for Christmas. And then I've got January, and I've got so much to do. It's just absolute madness. But yeah. Yeah, so obligatory get on with it comment. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, let me just do my Patreon ones first. I can't show these. Actually, I might be able to show these on the screen. Let me try it. So let's have a look. I might be able to just copy and paste a comment, because I can put a comment in here as well. So let me try and put the comment in there. Oh, let's split it between a lot of different things, which is not ideal. But if I show the thing, it covers my head quite a bit. That's not really helpful. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, there is a character limit, so this is not going to work too well. But let me see. Let me see if I shorten it. Shorten the comment. Here we go. And then put that in the chat and show that. Okay, that's a little bit better. And for now, why don't I turn this little ticker off? There we go. That brings it down. That should be a lot better. So Fabian on Patreon has asked, do you ever feel that sometimes the more you play some games, the worse you get? Give a bit more detail. It's happened to me several times recently with Viticulture or Architects. I don't mean games where luck is very present, but more strategic games. And I don't think it's because players and I play with are getting better. I just feel that my strategy is not clear and focused. Personally, I don't find this much at all. I mean, I've played games for religiously for 6-7 years now, and obviously played things like Warhammer and Magic and World of Warcraft and that beforehand. But I personally just kind of, if anything, I probably get better at some games because I play them more and I start noticing more strategies that come through. But what generally I do though is that if I get to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm particularly pretty good with a game, like say something like Pursuit of Happiness. I've played it plenty of times, or Architects. I've played both of those a lot of times, and I'm good at those games. So what I try to do is try weird strategies. So in Pursuit of Happiness, last time I played it with 2 friends of mine a couple of weeks ago, and what I did was I used the kids mini expansion, and I tried to see if I could get as many kids as Tom Vassell. So he's got 7 kids. So I thought, can I get 7 kids during the game? I chickened out at 5, but it was interesting to try. And so I thought, I do stuff like that, like weird stuff. But no, it's not that I'm getting worse. I mean, if I tried to beat you at Architects, I'd like to think I stand a good chance of beating you at Architects. But then I teach a lot of games to people who have not played the game before. So I can't really say I'm good at the game if I'm beating up on newbies. So I need to play some people who are really good, really good. Next Patreon question. Like I say, I'm going to do the Patreon ones first, and then I welcome everybody to spam the YouTube comments with more of those. So let's get the next one from Miss Gail. Let's have a look. I'm going to put another one in the comment just so that I can do it. I don't know a better way of doing this apart from screen sharing my Gmail, and I'd rather not. So maybe I'll have to put a Word document, or I suppose I could put a PowerPoint presentation and link to that on a future date. Oh, well, like I say, testing. So, hey, No stress, just specific. I'd love to hear which parts of the Tuscany expansion you use for viticulture and why you like those parts. I'm thinking about purchasing the expansion, but I'm on the fence. Okay, so Tuscany is a mandatory inclusion for viticulture. It literally is that much. Sorry, it's that essential. I know they've got like Viticulture Essential and Tuscany Essentials now, which is kind of ridiculous. But the Tuscany I bought in the collector's set before Essentials became a thing. But I don't use everything in it. Now, I don't think you can get Tuscany in its original form anymore. So I'm going to assume you've just got Tuscany Essentials. I'm not entirely certain what you get in the Essentials compared to that one, though. I think they leave some bits out, but basically, you had a couple of sideboards, you've got special meeples, you had mamas and papas, you had all sorts, and some of them they've brought into the original game. But ignoring what's in the essentials, I always use mama and papas, which I think is in Viticulture Essentials anyway, so you're good with that, and that's like starting resources setup, that's like mandatory. I always use the new board. New board is essential. This is the main reason you even get Tuscany Essentials, that board, because you get the extra season, you've got the different wake up chart, you've got the little mini map with the stars that influence. It's so much better. You need that board. Structures I always use orange cards. So you can build 2 structures on your board and they function like special buildings, so people can be differentiated. Sometimes it's open up paths to victory. I had one game I bought a cafe and a restaurant or something, and I didn't sell one wine order the entire game. I just spammed the cafe and restaurant, so I had a little catering business rather than a wine cellar. It was really decent, but that was what I did. And then what else? I use the special workers occasionally. You can have like, everybody can have this special worker that does something different. I can take it or leave it. It's good. I do like some of them, but it's an extra complication. It's an extra rule. And if I'm teaching viticulture, I'd rather not use them. But where I know people are pretty au fait with the game, I'll usually chuck them in. I think that's essentially it. And obviously advanced visitors. So I think they give like a new deck of advanced visitors to replace the old set. Do that because you get more multi-choice. And if you can grab the mini expansions, which allow you to add different sets of visitor cards, I highly recommend them. They're really good. I think Uri Rosenberg did one, and there was a River Rhine one. There's several of them, I think. But yeah, they're definitely worth it. So on that front, trying to look at the chat as well. Is there anything else in Tuscany I can think of? No, I think that's all I use from Tuscany. I do not use I think the original Tuscany had this stuff to do with mafia thing, or like mobsters or something. It was kind of rubbish. And it had 2 sideboards. One allowed you to make stuff like olive oil and tomatoes and ketchup and stuff, and the other one allowed you to make cheese and raise cows. They were okay, but they were just too much complication, and I do not use them. But I still recommend that if you have viticulture, get Tuscany Essentials. You need it. You need it bad. Okay, so that's that one. And last couple of, there's I think 2 or 3 more Patreon messages, questions from John and Yvonne Stone. So let's see if I can actually shorten this one. If I copy this much, there we go. That's better, because if I put in too many characters, it splits it and it's horrible. So here we go. So I've noticed more and more YouTube channels are getting support from sponsors, and thus they now include paid advertising in their videos. What is your views on this practice, and when did board game video content become less about the hobby and more about raising money? I don't think it's like got to the point where it's in like all about raising money, but you're definitely seeing more sponsors out there, like people, even the big lot, Dice Tower, and that occasionally put a thing of GameFound is a sponsor of their crowdfunding videos, and they've had stuff like sponsored by a publisher. I mean, you could argue even my channel is partially sponsored by Asmodee for review copies, but and also if you've watched my recent videos, I do have one sponsor, Zatu.co.uk, who sponsored the channel for me to do a quick, to have a code for getting cheaper games on their site, as well as talking about them at the start of my videos. And it's literally like 15, 20 seconds, which you can skip if you just go to the next chapter in the scroll bar. But I don't think it's got to a bit where like everybody's just about raising money. At the end of the day, we don't get paid, most of us, to do this job. This isn't a job for me. This is like a side thing that hemorrhages money. So any money that I can get from Google Ireland or, Patreon or review copies and stuff like that help fund the channel and keep it going. Otherwise, I'd have to stop doing it because it wouldn't be fine. I'm not trying to make the channel financially viable, but it needs to stop. It needs to not get to a point where it starts affecting my ability to live the rest of my life in terms financially. But I mean, I'm wondering what examples people have of that, really. So, whether people are like, is there a particular channel that's doing that more often than others? Not that I'm aware of. As far as I'm aware, the Dice Tower don't have too many of those. They don't make a big deal of it. I don't know what Shut Up and Sit Down do because I don't watch their videos. Don't know what No Pun Included do. As far as I'm aware, Watch It Play don't. Rado, I don't think does. So I haven't seen much evidence that board game video content's becoming more about raising money. But I do wonder if the board game industry is starting to become a little bit more about views and popularity rather than board games, because you definitely do see some of the bigger channels kind of like they're kind of self-aware that they know what how popular they are, and I just don't want to see it go to people's heads. Certainly not in against like the smaller creators I try to publicize on the channel. So I hope it stays that way. But who knows? I mean, I don't think it's gotten out of hand yet, but you certainly do wonder, like, there's a lot of collaborations out there. There's a lot of like mixing of channels and stuff. And sometimes you wonder how much of it is about loving the hobby and how much of it is just about, I can now get 100,000 views if I do this. We'll see. We'll see how time goes on. Next up, on Board Game Geek, gamers take part in challenges. I heard about the Advent Calendar Challenge when you play a game every day in December leading up to Christmas. Have you heard about this, and is it something you might try out? Personally, I know of the challenge, where you basically play a game every day at Christmas. But to be honest, I've been doing that this whole lockdown. I haven't posted a picture every day, I must admit. I've either been distracted or I've just forgotten. But I've had the hashtag solo every day for the whole of lockdown. And so what I essentially do is I play a solo game, and it doesn't matter what solo game. I could be playing Valley of the Kings for 60 minutes. I could play a Vital Lacerda game for 3 hours. I could, well, not solo, but you know what I mean, a long game. Or I could literally just grab Onirim from there and just play it quickly solo, a little card game. And this one, that has done well. It's kept me a bit more sane during lockdown. I've had some game nights with a support bubble, but that's about it, really. And obviously, Tabletop Simulator helps. But in terms of solo, I thought, well, if I do something every evening to play a game, then good. That might just keep me sane, and that's a good thing. So that's essentially like the way I wanted to do it. Now, one thing I am going to do before well, actually, I'll answer the rest of the question, but I don't think I would bother with the Advent calendar for Christmas. I mean, there's 2 reasons why. One, I've already kind of done it for solo every day, and 2, I'm going to be worked off my butt for the whole of December with my job and obviously blog stuff as well. And I think trying to keep up with a challenge like that, I think it's just going to like wipe me out. So it's not something I desperately go for. Some people like to do the 10 in 10, 20 in 20 and stuff like that, but I'm not too bothered by that. Now, I got one more Patreon question before I start checking the comments and seeing what people are doing. But one thing I must do first, I just realized the screen went dark and I don't have the battery connected to this laptop. So one sec. Right, get the thing in there. There we go. Whew. I have power. Otherwise, that might have been a little bit embarrassing. The stream shuts off due to power failure. Okay, so, and final question from the Patreons before I get you lovely YouTube people to give me your views and get your avatars shown up on the screen. Could you spend the rest of your gaming life just being able to keep and play your top 10 games? I've seen this question mentioned quite a few times on other shows, so this is nothing new. But, I mean, just my top 10 games? Possibly. I don't think so, though. No, because, I mean, I love my top 10 games, and I've got so much content for them. I mean, Arkham Horror LCG, Lord of the Rings LCG, Sentinels in the Multiverse, all 3 of those, I've got so much content. It's ridiculous. But the other games I've got, like Abyss and a few others like there that are in my top 10. I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong, and I would happily play them a lot. But I think the rest of my life, just those 10, yeah, no. So, I've got a whole wall full of games and then some in the other room. I like having a variety of games. I like variety in my life. Variety is the spice of life. I like it with my food, tapas, curries, and all sorts. I like variety. So having just 10 games to play, no matter how much content I have in them, because it could take me months to play through the entire quest line of Lord of the Rings LCG and beat them all. But then I would get bored playing the same game over and over and over again in such a short space of time. So no, I need variety. As much as I love my top 10 games, I do like playing other games as well. Trying that. Cool. Right. So that's. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so I can get those pages off. So there we go. So that's all my Patreon questions done. Let's have a look at some of the random comments that I've had in there whilst I've sadly not been paying attention to you lovely YouTube people. Hey, Daryl. Yes, I did notice you had appeared. Why aren't you working? So yes, Daryl is a friend of mine from my Portsmouth gaming group. And yes, I have shown him Architects among other games. So you have good times. You do not suck at all games, Daryl. Will you stop being so hard on yourself? Let's see what we got. So, Vala, I get worse at some games. I think it's fear. You start playing based on your last loss and don't focus on a winning strategy. I become too risk averse. I don't know. I mean, if I lose a game, I lose a game, and I just decide, what can I do to, do better? Let's see, I'm going to move the camera down a little bit there. So, yeah, what can I do to do better? I just carry on, really. So, okay, yeah, you can start putting comments in the YouTube chat. I will try and catch up with as many as I can. Obviously, this is what the whole Q&A is for, to socialize and have fun with you guys while drinking. Not a bad coffee, actually. I'm sure there's some stuff I do when it comes to making and drinking coffee that most coffee experts would cry out heresy for, but I seem to have a good time. It tastes nice to me. What more do I want? So let's start off. Let's see, David. I have a question. Well, of course you do. That's why you're here. What games are you thinking about playing if things ease up over Christmas? Well, things are supposedly easing up over Christmas. We're told, according to the government, that as of the 2nd of December, the lockdown is over. So we'll be able to interact with more people, obviously taking care and precautions, mask and, hand gel and all that lot. Basically what I do in real life. Okay, I don't wear a mask every day before COVID, but I did have hand sanitizer in my pocket all the time, just force a habit. If I'm eating horrible food and I'm playing somebody else's game, I will disinfect my hand before I start putting my grubby fingers over their game. But things will ease up, so hopefully the Dice Cafe that I go to will open up as well, and that'll be good. But I'll also be able to have people around, obviously precautions in that, but I'll be able to have people around and start playing more games. What am I thinking about playing though? I've got Suburbia there. I barely played it since I bought the collector's edition. I love the game. I need to really get to grips with that and play it. Lately, I've been playing things like Kingdom Rush, Effa Fields, and Chronicles of Crime and stuff like that in order to get them ready for review. But I'm just thinking, what would I like to pull off the shelf? Let's see. I certainly wouldn't mind getting Empires of the North out again. Predator Porter. That'd be good. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Kanban EV, I'm playing that this Friday for Virtual GridCon. That will be good fun. I've not played that yet, but I've got the original Kanban. But games that I'm thinking of bringing out, Suburbia would be a good one. Francis Drake, that's sitting in the shelf in the other room, waiting for me to decide if I want to keep it or not. Trying to think, what else, really? We already played Underwater Cities recently, so I'm not quite desperate for that. I suppose I wouldn't mind getting some more of the Lacerdas out again. In fact, I taught them Gallerist. Maybe I could get Vinyos out. That'd be pretty sweet. And I probably wouldn't mind getting Civilization A New Dawn out again so that I can try out the expansion a bit more. But yeah, you name it, there'll be games for me to play. Okay. Thanks for the comments about this looking good. Obviously, you're easy to please. I know this can be a lot more professional, and it will. There will be, when it comes to the top 10, you'll be able to see, I can't show it on here because there's only one camera on the stream, but I'll be able to have let's take Board Game Ramblings, for example. We are planning on doing a top 10 games the other channel was wrong about, or something like that. Tongue-in-cheek list, where we rag on each other's choice of favorite games. We have a fun rivalry, Johannes Sunniva and I. We have a fun rivalry, but we are good friends, okay? We have met each other at Essen and other conventions. We get on well. We've played games together. We have games that we know we both like. Like we could entertain ourselves for a month flat playing games we both like, but we do have different tastes on a few games, we have noticed, and we just want to do a funky top 10 for giggles, really. And we are thinking of doing that, but I'll be able to have 2 cameras on the screen share it, have the banner tickers saying what things. I'll even have videos done in advance, like from After Effects or something, to do the transitions of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It'll be a bit of a mission, but we'll see if I can do it. Anyway, move on to the next question. So what have we got here? Trey Techie, have you ever experienced a gaming lull where you didn't want to take any board games out and play them? If so, how did you break out of it? Were you on a diced... I was going to say, were you on Z Garcia's Q&A recently? That exact same question was asked to Z Garcia on his latest Q&A. I wonder if it was you as well. But no, not really. Nah, I've entered burnout stages where... Sorry, I'm trying to get comfy on my chair. I've entered burnout stages where I didn't necessarily want to do any blog work. So it's like so many videos to get done. So Essen is usually one of the worst times. Gen Con time as well. First 3 months of the year are easy because very few games get released and I just do other content. But this time of year, it's really, really busy. And I have had times where I'm just like, I can't be bothered to do another video right now. It's like, it's like nobody's watching it, whatever. I end up in a horrible state, thinking nobody's watching a video and I'm putting all this effort. What is the point? And then in order to get out of that, I'd sort of just take a little break, like take a week off, don't do any video content, do other things. Remember that I still have other things to do in my life. I try to keep up with other things, friends and family and that. And eventually I'm like, all right, new fresh mind. Let's go into it. Let's try and speed things up. But I don't really enter a lull when it comes to normal board gaming. I find that I would play games every day if I could. I mean, previous ex-girlfriends have not been as keen on that fact, but I could happily sit down and play a game every day. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to play it like tons of games every day all the time, but I could happily every weekday. Let's say I found a significant other and she liked games. I would happily, with her, if we were living together, come home from work, cook us a meal, we'd have the meal, and then evening time play a game with her. 2-player game, massive Lacerda game, I don't care, but I wouldn't get bored. So I've never ended up in a lull. Perhaps I'm just too addicted. Hello to Gert. Everybody's in. There's some of my broken comments, like this one where it's like, too many characters for the things, so that didn't work. Hello, Kabuki. Yes, I did see you arrive. And Daryl as well. What see we got? Trying to find. All right, here we go. One for Kabuki. Have you played an Undaunted game yet? If so, how does it compare to War Chest? I barely know anything about this Undaunted series. I mean, isn't Undaunted I wonder if I can actually... let's try this. Share screen. Come on, let's work. So Chrome tab, Board Game Geek, share. There we go. So, whoop, there we go. Technology. So what is Undaunted? Is it the one I'm thinking of, the Normandy one? Yeah, oh, I see. So I thought there was only one. I thought it was just North Africa, but apparently there's a Normandy one and a reinforcements one. I have not played any of these for 2 main reasons. One, it's a 2-player only game. It's hard for me to get 2-player only games to the table because I usually play in groups. And secondly, I'm not interested in the theme. The theme, D-Day, whatever, wars. War is not a favorite theme of mine. Nothing to do with personal sensitivities or anything. I'm just not particularly interested in the war. But big drink there. Right. But a deck building game, put you in command of American or German forces, fighting through a series of missions, use your cards to seize the initiative. Let's have a look at some pictures. I mean, it looks interesting, I gotta admit. Although, why is he playing it on the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth map? I have that mat. Use it for Lord of the Rings. How dare you? But, oh God, I'm pretty certain this is not what the game has. Why is there images of this? Have they got confused? I thought this was meant to be a card game. I don't know. Maybe it's cool. I mean, maybe this is part of the game. I don't know. I don't know enough about this, but I've never tried it. So how would it compare to War Chest? Well, I've already got War Chest. I mean, War Chest is already a fun little game. Whoop. I haven't played this in a while, actually. I must admit, I give it a high rating, but I've not really had the chance to play it, mainly because I don't often play two-player games. But I know you can play this in teams, so maybe I'll just have to do that. But I mean, when you've got stuff like this, all these really nice poker chips there, where you put them in the bag. It's a bag builder, abstract war game. So you try to You try to wipe out other players' pieces as well as control certain areas. But you use these really nice chips on a abstract board. It's a really cool game, but I just haven't played it in a while. But I've got that. Why do I need Undaunted, especially when I'm not interested in the war theme? If anything, I'd rather have the no theme than the war theme. So yeah, I've just not really had the pleasure. That's the main thing. All right, let's move that screen a little bit smaller and carry on. I almost beat Luca Architects in our last game. You did almost beat me, but not quite. Oh, sorry. I skipped another Kabuki one very quick. Thoughts on Dune Imperium? I've not played it. It looks okay. Well, when I say looks okay, mechanically it looks okay. But graphically and artwork-wise, unless I'm missing something here, it looks like garbage. I mean, look at that cover. That cover is dull. It is literally just the word Dune and a desert planet with a couple of moons that look dead. That's just such a boring cover. Now, granted, in my defense, I've not played I've not watched Dune. Not watched Dune. I have no idea what the on earth Dune is even about. All I know is that they're on a desert planet and there's sandworms. But then I can go to the desert and watch Kevin Bacon fight giant graboids in Tremors. Do I need Dune? I have no idea. But I mean, mechanically, it looks cool. Component wise and that, I mean, using screen caps from a series, or what is it, screen caps? No, it's artwork, but I wouldn't recognize any of the characters, any of the theme. It sounds cool mechanically, but I've never watched Dune. Maybe at some point I will watch Dune, but I'm not desperate to. What's everybody's opinion on the Dune film, and which film, is there more than one? Which one should I watch? I'll eventually catch up to the end of these comments and I'll be able to focus more on that. Let's have a look at another one. So let's go back to normal screen. Hey, which Sandbox game would you suggest? Right, Sandbox. So you're talking about pretty much do what you like. There are two that instantly spring to mind, and three. All right, I'm going to give you three. I'll give you the more Amerifrashy style one, the heavy Euro style one, and the kind of lighter mid-weight Euro one. So in terms of Amerifrash, Western Legends. Western Legends, I'm not even a big Western fan, but I do love that game because I can literally say, right, you are this cowboy. What do you want to do? Whatever you like. You want to be a marshal and go round up bandits or other players, go do it. You want to be an outlaw and rob the train. I've got the expansion to it. Rob the train and go steal from the bank and rustle cattle, then go do it. You want to play poker in the casino and win money that way and points, go for it. You want to just beat on other players, go for it. You want to rustle cattle, you want to go prospecting, go do it. You can do pretty much anything you like in that game. And it's really thematic and really cool. And I don't even particularly know anything about Western movies. I've not watched a proper Western, and I'm not going to consider, my knowledge and expertise when it comes to Western movies is Fievel Goes West, Back to the Future 3, and Wild Wild West. That's probably, what's that really cool poker film with Mel Gibson? I'm forgetting it. What's it called? Maverick. Yes, those four films and Firefly. If you take out the space stuff, that's literally my knowledge of Western movies. But I still think the game's great. Heavy would be Fields of Arle. Fields of Arle, Euro Sandbox, Uwe Rosenberg, very much Caverna and Agricola. But if you want as many options, in fact, I want to pull that out after Christmas lockdown is done, actually. But if you want the ultimate farming sandbox Euro game, you get Fields of Arle and never regret it. It literally produces so many options. I mean, Do you want to go farm sheep and cattle? Go do it. You want to build buildings? Do it. Build this castle? Do it. You want to go collect various resources and deliver them to the local town? Okay, do it. Right. Do you want to have a normal axe, or do you want to upgrade your axe to a better axe? Okay, well, I could do that. You want to go fishing? I could do that. Do you want to export tea to India? Okay, I could do that. What about, but maybe you don't want to do any farming. You just want to upgrade all your tools and have a massive tool shed. So, okay, what else can I do? I can clear up the bogs, peat bogs and dikes, and expand my fields out so I get to the coast. It's like, you name it, there are so many options in Fields of Isle. It is beyond ridiculous. Really good game, though. And Midway, I'm not going to belabor this one too much because I've been ranting on about it recently, but Pursuit of Happiness. You can't see it on my shelf. I can reach it from here, though. Oh, God, this is heavy in one hand. So trying to lift it with one hand when it's got so many cards in it. But yeah, Pursuit of Happiness. I've been raving about this game a lot lately with all the cards, like basically the Game of Life Euro edition, where you try and live your life from start to finish. That is a Sandbox Euro game because you decide how you want to live your life. I decide I want to, let me pull out a package here. So I want to go, I want to go sightseeing. Okay, I'll do that. I want to grow a bonsai tree. Okay, I'll do that. You want to date Kerry? Kerry, or do you want to flip it to the other side and date Katrina? Entirely up to you. You basically just play the game for a laugh, where you're just like living your life. It is like the Game of Life, but you get to choose what you do. It's not like, because I made a giggle where I said I tried to have as many kids as Tom Vassell, but that was by choice, and I was doing that for a laugh. Normally, I don't want kids. I don't want kids in real life. But every time I played the Game of Life as a kid, 1984, Game of Life, I always landed on that stupid space that said get a peg for a daughter and a son. So by the end of the game, I'm not eligible for the Millionaire's Mansion. I have to retreat to the country cottage with a people carrier full of screaming kids. It was annoying. Whilst I was on a barely minimum wage. So I loved the game, but I was not very good at it. But yeah, those are 3 options. I better move on with the questions. What have we got there? That's sorry. I'm quite good at racing games. There's something about them that just clicks with me. Other than that, I don't think I'm particularly good at games. Maybe you're too hard on yourself, mate. Everything just takes practice. Granted, first time I played Seven Wonders, I won against 6 other people. But I've been playing Warhammer and Magic and computer games and various other games all my life. Not just board games. It just takes practice. The more you play it, the more you get better. And, maybe it's just finding, like I say, you're good at racing games. Okay, so you found a genre that you're good at. See what other genres are. Maybe dexterity. You're any good at hand-eye coordination? Try and do a dexterity game. Maybe you're really good at those. It's just try everything. And at the end of the day, what does it matter if you don't win the games as long as you enjoy it? Had the chef as special worker last game for Viticulture. That must have been a Viticulture. Great for new players. Okay, I'll have a no. I need to have a look at those special workers and see what I can do. That's my thing. When is the crossover with the Broken Meeple, Board Game Co. and Quackalope? Funny you should say that, actually. To say, this is not like official. Let's see. I'm going to straighten this a little bit, but then I can't really stare at it easily. This is not like a official thing, but I commented on one of Board Game Co.'s videos recently when he was comparing Everdell to Wingspan, and I thought, how on earth do you compare the two? And also, it was saying why Everdell was better than Wingspan. It's like, no, Wingspan's better than Everdell. But I commented, and he said the guy responded and said you were the first person I thought about when I was putting this together, because I thought we need to do a video collaboration on this, because I think you would be somebody to really debate something versus something. And other people got on there and said, oh yeah, I want to see that. Now, Quackalope wasn't involved in that conversation, but given that Quackalope and Board Game Co. have a bit of a collaboration thing, I suspect the 3 of us would do it. And to be honest, I'd be more than up for that. I want to get people on this show with StreamYard, once I get the hang of it, to do top 10 lists. Like I said, Board Game Ramblings, we're going to do something. I want to get smaller creators on here. If somebody big wants to come on my channel, then great. But, I'm perfectly happy to go out and find, Bones Collector, Ryan and Bethany Board Games, Board Game Perspective, One Man in the Meeple, whatever, all the people that I put on the channel promos. I'd love to get them on the show and do top 10s with them. It'd be great. So nothing's official yet, but let's just say the future's bright. Hey, go away, virus vet protection, go away. Let's see. Next one. What would your perfect number of board games in a collection enough to play? What would be your perfect number of board games in a collection enough to play twice a week and play all of them in a single year? Perfect number of board games in a collection enough to play twice a. I mean, is this a maths question? I mean, 365 days a year. So is that technically 183 games? But I'd say play twice a week and play all of them in a single year. I don't know. I mean, what have I got? I've got about 200 games in my collection, just over that. I think that's about right. Maybe a bit more by now. And I'm now at my limit, but I can't get a lot of these played as often as I like. So I think I've got too many. I've got too many games, but some I just can't bear to get rid of. Although I am going to do a mini cull some point soon because I've got games like some of this stuff on the floor at the moment that I can't fit on the shelves. I need to start getting rid of some games that I've got which are like rank 7 or below in my ratings. And it's like, well, I don't own anything that I think I rank a 6, but I do own some rank 7s. So I think I need to get rid of some of those rank 7s, give them to the cafe or sell them off or whatever, and keep other games. But yeah, I don't think there's a perfect number. I mean, perfect number is whatever's good for you. For me, I'd say if I had a collection half this size, 150, 100 games. Yeah, say about 100 games. I reckon I could find 100 games. Well, I could take my top 100, have that as my entire collection, and I think I'd be pretty good for a year. What we got? The few comments from previous. The advent calendar. What's this one? Been playing for as long. Some gamers did a good job redesigning existing games as a hobby work. Why not reviewing those? E.g., Blood Rage, the dice game on Board Game Geek. Was there? Oh, I see. So you mean like fan-made stuff? Well, I just ain't got the time. I mean, I couldn't do fan-made expansions as well. I don't even tend to get a lot of fan-made stuff. With the exception of my Sentinels and the Multiverse collection, I do have the Cauldron expansions to that. But yeah, I don't really do a lot with that. And I haven't really kept up to date with fan-made stuff for games. So kind of that. Lighting seems harsh today. Well, it's just my light bulb. Not much else on it. I mean, it is just my natural light. Maybe it's just because StreamYard picks up the light from my webcam better than it did over there. Or maybe it's because I'm on this end of the room and not that end of the room. I don't know. As long as you can see me. Or maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I'll leave that to you lot. All right. Whoa. Scrolled way too fast then. Right. So here we go. People asking about board game tables. Let's see. Video. If you could give one advice about this hobby to your younger self 10 years ago, what would you say? Don't make a channel. Don't play board games. Find yourself a girlfriend first, then get into board games. Maybe that would be the best thing. But 10 years ago, I was 26. I probably was. What was I doing when I was 26? I was in a job. I moved back to Portsmouth, just moved into my flat. So not this house, the place I was in before. And I don't think I started board games at that point. I've been doing the channel for about 6-7 years, but I was board gaming before then. So I hadn't started games at that stage. I don't know, really. I mean, I would have probably just told myself to set myself a limit first. Like, look, you're going to buy this big shelf. You're going to see games everywhere, but set yourself a limit and don't ever go above it, because then you won't get so addicted to games that you end up with 200 of the things in your house and making a YouTube channel and God knows what else. Maybe I would have said maybe work on your love life first before working on your board game collection. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe just control yourself with a minute. All right. What about that? How are you finding Mandalorian so far? I imagine episode 2 was a particular highlight for you. No, it wasn't. I am loving The Mandalorian at the moment. I mean, I enjoyed season 1, even though it tailed a bit in the middle. Every episode has been fantastic, and I love how it's tying back to stuff from the Clone Wars and Rebels, because I watched those earlier in the year, and so I recognize when certain characters, I won't spoil, turn up, and it's like, oh, I recognize you. Ah, sweet, and stuff like that. But I've loved the episode so far. Episode 1 was a good laugh, with the Tuscans and that. Episode 2, we'll get onto that in a minute, Episode 3 was, oh yeah, with those recurring characters. That was good fun. Good laugh and some good action. The fourth one, the one that we just had, the Siege, was 10 out of 10 fantastic. I loved that episode. It was just relentless action for most of it. It had recurring characters that I love. Unfortunately, I can't remember their on-screen names, but you've got the woman wrestler who does who's the marshal. You've got Carl Weathers, and is it Carl Weathers? Leader of the settlement. Those two are great characters, and I especially love. I'm so embarrassed I can't remember her name. The problem is I watch so many series I forget people's names, but she's fantastic. I love her. It's like every time she's on screen, she is just a complete badass. I love her. Her intro scene in that episode where she's taking on the three weird sort of baggy chin dudes. That's brilliant. She's using people as body shields. She's doing rolls, lifting them onto their back, chucking them at people. She's absolutely amazing. Please do not kill off that character. But yeah, episode 2. I enjoyed it. It was a good episode, had some good heart and a little bit of comedy in that. But yeah, the alien creatures they fight in that close to just above Halloween. Yeah, I struggled with that. I had to literally sort of squint at the TV because the creatures on there, which I can only describe as snow spiders, were not good for me. They looked freaky. Their face was freaky, and there was even a couple of jump scare moments where it's like, they're gonna get away now. It's like, whoa, Jesus, and then it just comes out. It's like, okay, can we get off the spiders, please? I don't like it. But yeah, I'd struggle to watch that again. It was a good episode, but man, a monster just gave me chills. Okay, what do we got? Sorry I missed the start. Don't worry, even if you don't watch this live, just tune in later. Okay, what have we got? The quests. I'm not sure what these quests are. Best Star Wars. Everybody's loving The Mandalorian, which is good. Best Star Wars since the original trilogy, maybe along with Rogue One. Rogue One was overrated. Hey, it had a fantastic third act, but the rest of it was pretty bleh. Well, not bleh, but it was meh. The problem with Rogue One is that the third act is absolutely brilliant, like some of the best Star Wars action we've had for ages. But the first 2 acts are kind of meh because none of the characters are interesting, except for the sassy droid and, to a lesser extent, the I forget who was playing him, but the blind monk, blind Jedi monk or whatever it was. Those 2 characters were quite interesting. I did love the sassy droid, but apart from that, the main characters are dull. They're dull as ditch water. They're just not interesting. So when it gets to the third act, I care about what's going on, just not the characters. But it was all right. I mean, it was damn sight better than Solo. That was horrible. But I like the new trilogy, to be honest. I mean, granted, plot hole central and it's quite insane, but I really like Force Awakens. I thought that was really good. I mean, that is basically New Hope 2.0, and I prefer it to New Hope. I actually liked 80% of The Last Jedi, to be honest. Granted, the whole casino stuff was rubbish. I mean, that was the horses and all that. That was not needed. Everybody acknowledges that was bad. But the rest of the stuff, I mean, it was going in a different direction. It teased certain things that are like, oh, this could be really cool if they follow through with it. I loved all the stuff with Luke and Rey and the final scene on those salt plains with the bikes and then Kylo and that. And Kylo character got even better. I really liked Kylo Ren. I thought that was really good. Then you got Rise of Skywalker, and it's like, oh, I mean, the action in it's pretty cool, and it's hammy-fisted to like you wouldn't believe, but yeah, plot hole central. Yeah, that was a bit of a disappointing ending, but yeah, I mean, I had fun. Still have fun with Star Wars. But although I do recommend like the Clone Wars and Rebels, they were actually a lot better than I thought they would be. Okay, what have we got? I think I'm in the minority of people who didn't like Rogue One as much. Well, you've just heard me rag on it, so you're not in the minority, mate. Yeah, I'm hardly in the majority, but still. Let's see, what have we got? Have you played Santorini? Seems like a great low complexity, high depth. I have, and to be fair, it could fit on that list. I like it. It's fine. I'm just not mad on it. The problem with Santorini is that people want to play it with the god powers. But the god powers are nowhere in any way, shape, or form balanced. You can have some matchups where literally one power utterly neuters the other power. And I've had that several times. And it just puts me off wanting to do that. And when you've got that sort of state, it's no longer really that high depth. But if you play it without the god powers, it's a fine game. And I suppose there is depth. But how much depth? I don't know. I mean, there's only so many ways you can dart around buildings and that. But I mean, I could see it. If people wanted to put it on the list, they more than well could. It's just not one that I've stuck with. I didn't like Suburbia. That's a bit of a shame, but yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it's I mean, the new edition looks a lot better, but the old one wasn't exactly a looker. What do you think of Outer Rim not have any expansions yet? Will it die out? Ooh, that is a worry. That is a worry. I hope it doesn't. I mean, they've got the Star Wars license. They could do it, but I mean, I love it. It's on my shelf. But yeah, it needs expansions. It needs expansions fast. It needs those card decks built up. Otherwise, it's going to be too much rinse repeat. So I don't know what they're playing at. You know, this is Fantasy Flight. They will bring out 1 million Cthulhu expansions within the same year. But for some reason, Outer Rim, they haven't. I'm worried if it's because Outer Rim may not have as much popularity as they like and they don't see the monetary reason why they should do it. But then they print out stuff like Talisman. Is that a Fantasy Flight one? I can't remember. And they made that garbage, what you call it, the something world, unknown world. What was it? The one that was based off Keyforge's random deck mechanic. I mean, it's so rubbish, I can't remember it, but they made that garbage. So they got the money, they got the time, but yeah, they really could do with making an expansion. Hopefully it won't die out. That's what I'm thinking. I adore Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I liked it fine, but I sold it out of the collection because it was fiddly compared. I found it easier to play Suburbia than I did Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And I just felt I didn't need both. Let's see. What did you think of Brick and Mortar? Brick and Mortar? Is that another game? Let's see. Is what Brick and Mortar? Is that? Hang on. What on earth is this? Hang on. Let me share the screen for you guys. Wrong one. There we go. Is this what you're on about? Brick and Mortar? 2021? Well, oh, come on, load up. I mean, the cover looks okay. Not the most interesting looking board, but maybe it's a prototype. Looks quite heavy. Looks more like an economic game, which kind of worries me. Let's have a look at the premise. Publisher Octoraf Games. Never heard of them. Okay, 60 to 120 minutes. Too bad. Competitive game of narrow margins, quirky stores, and strategic market manipulation. Maximize profits, build equity. I don't know. I mean, it could be cool. It takes a lot for an economic game to win me over. And this has a mechanism of commodity speculation in it as well, which is like, oh God, that better not be like shares or something. So I'll look at it because I do like city building related stuff. And I mean, Predator surprised me. You know, I love that. And that's an economic heavy game. But I'm not exactly going to get excited over this one just yet. I would like Viscounts to be played at Dice. Well, if you ask nicely, then maybe Santa will bring that for you for Christmas. Okay. Oh, yep. Sorry. Coffee Maker asked the Outer Rim question. That's fine. Have you backed any Kickstarters recently, or any coming up that you have an eye on? Well, let's see. Kingdom Rush and Chronicles of Crime should be arriving soon, even though I've got the retail versions for review. Have I? Oh, Anachrony is coming out with its Fractures of Time expansion to go with my copy behind me. That's delivering soon, so that'll be cool. Is there any other Kickstarter that's delivering in the near future other than those two ones I mentioned? Can't think of any. I wonder, actually. Let me have a look. Maybe I can go onto my Kickstarter page. Let's have a look. Can't think of anything else that's delivering at this point than I'm expecting. But if I can get into my... Oh, Sleeping Gods was meant to be delivering this year, but I don't think it will because I think Ryan Lockett has been delayed on that one. So that one's probably not going to happen. But let's see if I can... come on, hurry up. I don't want to show you all my like personal pages and stuff like that. Obviously, well, I've not backed the new Pursuit of Happiness Kickstarter because Martipia Games is going to provide me with a copy of that in, you know, for review purposes and just in exchange for those two videos I did. So that one doesn't really count. I can't think of anything else I backed. I almost backed Freedom 5 and I chose not to. Oh no, Padio Americans or whatever it's called, the Johnny Pack game. I did back that literally last minute. I thought for value, because I was thinking the Freedom 5 and I thought there was not enough value in that game. It was too expensive. It got out of hand and it put me off it for what was essentially Defenders of the Realm, as much as I like Sentinels of the Multiverse. But when I looked at the Padio Americans one, I thought mechanics look cool. Looks pretty good. Play mats and stuff. And for the same price as I was thinking of spending on Freedom 5, it gave you so much content, it was ridiculous. And I thought, well, you know what, then? I'm going to buy that one then. I thought that would be a lot cheaper. But come on, if I can get into this Rockstarter account, it seems to be slowing on me right now. Hopefully it's not causing problems for you. So, all right, here we go. So, backed projects, view all. And, yep, this isn't showing any personal information. So, okay, let's share this one. So, how can I stop the screen, share this tab? Whoop, Chrome tab, back projects. It's all magic. Here we go. Right, so I backed Endless Winter. I backed Mr. Cabbage Head's Garden Returns or whatever it was because I've never played it. Never played Cabbage Head Garden. But everybody kept going on about it, saying it was a good solo game and it was $34 for a deluxe set. I thought, why not? Give it a try. If it's that good, I'll enjoy it. Frostpunk, back that one. That was, I love the computer game. I would definitely want to play the board game. The gaming calendar, I wanted it for the wallpapers. Western Legends Blood Money, the expansion to that. Perseverance, I backed that at a pretty deluxe level. So that one should be pretty good. Oh, Nemesis Lockdown. Oh, God, yeah. Nemesis Lockdown, I went all in. I went all in for Nemesis. That could have been a massive mistake, but we'll see. I got paid by a side client, and I thought I'd treat myself. Hell, the Last Saga, Great Wall board game. So, I've backed a fair amount of stuff, and if I back a project, it's usually quite an expensive one. So, I'm trying to be better with my money, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. But I guess this is the advantage of having no kids, no girlfriend, and very cheap hobbies. I say cheap. Board gaming is not a cheap hobby, but then the gym is a monthly subscription. That's it. Going to Dice is not that expensive. Walking in the hills is not pricey at all. Cinema, when it was open, is not bad. And I suppose lately, because we've been on lockdown several times, I've barely had to put any fuel in the car. When was the last time I remember fueling the car? September? It's like ridiculous. Okay. Let's have a look at more stuff. So what do we got? Crunchy. I was going to say, you can ask stupid little questions like, well, I say stupid. You can ask funny little questions like this as well. I do like answering these. Crunchy or Whisper Gold? Crunchy, definitely. That honeycomb taste. Oh, you're making me hungry now. Yeah, I do love a good crunchy. Crunchy's nice. Whisper Gold is nice. It's chocolate with caramel or something in it. But yeah, the honeycomb chocolate. Oh, lovely. I've not had a crunchy in ages. Terraforming Mars or Underwater Cities, and why? Underwater Cities, hands down. And I know everybody compares these two games, and I try to think, are they similar? But there is similarities, and yet there isn't. But yeah, Underwater Cities, definitely for me, was what Terraforming Mars should have been. Terraforming Mars goes on, both of them are long games, but Underwater Cities feels like a game that needs to be that long, whereas Terraforming Mars feels like it should have been 90 minutes tops, and yet goes on for 2.5 to 3 hours. Especially when you have that latest expansion in there, Turmoil. Who thought that was a good idea? But the problem with Terraforming Mars is that it feels very repetitive in most games. Because you see a lot of the cards, most of them are the same sort of thing. And I felt that the luck of the draft was too much. I could take a corporation that's all about the gardens, right? I'm going to build forests everywhere. And then during the draft, you never see any forest cards. They either get nicked or they never come out of the deck. Well, then I'm at a massive disadvantage to the other player who's doing nothing but mining and has found all the mining stuff. I don't mind Terraforming Mars, but Underwater Cities, I feel, is a much more rich to tactical game. I can have a strategy saying I'm going to go for this, but you've got to react to the cards. With Terraforming Mars, you kind of have to do that, but again, you could just get completely screwed if you don't find cards that go with your intended strategy. Whereas in Underwater Cities, it's not about having an overarching strategy. It's about doing what the cards are good for. And I just love that color combination of find a green card for the green location, yellow for yellow, trying all the different special projects. With the expansion, you've now got different starting setups. I found Underwater Cities to be a lot more fulfilling than Terraforming Mars. But I'll still play Terraforming Mars. If you get me 3 players max with Prelude, I'll play Terraforming Mars. More Undaunted. Oh, blimey. How far am I behind on these questions? It's a good thing I'm going to... Oh, it's an hour already. I'll keep this going to 9:30 at the latest. Refuel. What do we got then? Did you see TBOH Kickstarter poll for getting a video reviewer on a card pulling for you? The Pursuit of Happiness. Oh, was there a Kickstarter poll? Was it? Because I didn't back it, so I wasn't in touch with those. But for getting a video reviewer on a card pulling for you, if they can put me on a card, I would more than love it. But I suspect it will probably be. The poll is going to be some people. It's going to be Shut Up and Sit Down and Dice Tower, isn't it? It's going to be those two. I'd be surprised and flabbergasted if they came to me and said, "Luke, you want a poll to be put on a card for Pursuit of Happiness?" But hey, if they want to, do it. That'd be amusing. I mean, what would I be? I guess I'd be either a project, some weird project, or I'd be one of the relationship dates. Oh, what would that be? Like my ugly mug on the front, although I suppose it's cartoonified, so it can only be so ugly. But then what would it? So it would have date, and it would be like no cost, but no reward. Then there would be relationship, where it wouldn't be creativity. It would probably be knowledge. I'd probably give knowledge out and money, and then as an accountant, and then raise family wouldn't even be a section on the card because I wouldn't want to raise a family. So literally you'd get no reward at first, and then it would be a relationship where you mainly get books and money. I don't think I'd be the most popular card, to be perfectly honest. Alrighty. There you go. Castle. Really didn't like they didn't use really don't like they used movie art for Dune Imperium. Never watched Dune. That doesn't really bother me too much though. Everybody's talking about Dune. I really know nothing about Dune. My Sandbox favorites are Western Legends and Merchants and Marauders. It was a long time since I played Merchants and Marauders. It was okay, but I wasn't blown away by it. Okay, let's see if I can catch up with some of these questions. Back to the Future 3 is gold. It certainly is. Tombstone is a great movie. I think I've watched clips. That's about it. Zaya. I have not played Zaya, but the amount of time it looks like it takes for more than 2 players just puts me right off. Almost catching up. Oh, blimey. Hang on. Here we go. So, as I start to build my Marvel LCG collection based on your videos, thanks. Cheers. I wonder if I'll ever want to play Marvel Legendary again. Have you found room for both games in your collection? Yes and no. Marvel Champions is getting a lot more plays, and it's been a long time since I played Marvel Legendary. In fact, I've stopped buying expansions for it because it's just getting ridiculous. And if I do play Legendary, I tend to play Alien and Predator Legendary because I find those games better. The only thing is, this crate up here is where all my Legendary stuff is stored. I can't exactly sell my Marvel Legendary set because I have no way to... I don't have the original box. And so I kind of have to keep the game, even though I haven't played it in a while. You could convince me to play it. I mean, if someone came around my house and they were a massive Marvel Legendary fan, I'd get it down and we'd play it. And I'd have fun. But it's hard to play it solo because you've got to play at least free-handed solo in order for it to be... Actually, free? No, you can play 2 players, but you've got to play at least 2 or free-handed for it to be remotely balanced. And because pure solo just doesn't work with a lot of the scenarios. But I must admit, if it was in the normal box, I would have probably sold it by now. Just because Marvel Champions, I think, is a much better game and is getting a lot of the plays. But then I also have Sentinels of the Multiverse, which I like even more than Marvel Champions. But have I found room for both games? Not by necessarily choice. I certainly don't recommend getting both. I think if you found one that you like, stick with it. But we'll go with that. Getting hidden by this comment. This was a big comment. Let's have a look. Are you still interested in playing Mice and Mystics? Yeah. A simplistic dungeon crawl with a kind of borrowers meets mouse, mice or whatever. It kind of feels like something like that. It feels like something like Secret of Nim, the board game or something. It's got that kind of flavor to it. But I'd play it. Would it be quite simple? Yeah, but then I like Descent. I still think Descent's one of the best dungeon crawls around. Simplicity of kick the door down and go loot stuff and kill stuff. This one sounds like it's got a pretty cool story, and Stuff Fables I'd like to play as well. But so hard to get campaign games fully played these days. I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to get through Efferfields. It's on the table, but it's kind of hit and miss at the moment, and it's like that's going to be a long campaign to get through. It took me ages to get through Tainted Grail, and I've got scenarios to play in Mansions of Madness still, and I've got the campaign expansion I'm doing in Lord of the Rings Middle-earth, and I've still got to play the Dale DLC campaign thing. So I've really got to try and stop buying campaign games because it's just becoming too impossible to play them. I would love to come on the show. Well, we'll bear that in mind for a future time then. Anything is possible. Mum Gamer. So thanks a lot, Dave. Oh, well, you probably left by now, but thank you for the kind comment. Has the UK changed the clocks back? Late October we did. We got an extra hour's sleep. Best time of the year to get an extra hour's sleep. But yeah, late October we changed them. So the last Q&A would have been before, but it's always been 8 p.m. BST, as far as I'm aware. I mean, forgive me if I got my time zones wrong, but as far as I'm aware, 8 p.m. British Standard Time was still valid. What have we got here? Really wanted to like Lord of the Rings LCG, but couldn't, so I like it when people tell me the fun they are having with it. Fair enough. And I've caught up with the comments, so yeah, by all means, get more in there. But do you plan on doing promos for the Broken Meeple? I don't know how I would. I mean, I don't think any publisher is looking to have my face or stuff on promos. I mean, if they do, if they approached me and said, we'd like you on some promo cards, I probably would do it just for laugh. But it's not something that I can do myself. I certainly can't design them myself or anything. There was one group, I forget who they were. They were the developers of the Charterstone app. And they did approach me saying if I would want to design a map for Charterstone, because I think you could get fan-made producer ones. But I passed on that because, one, I'm not as big a fan of a Charterstone, and B, I had not played it in so long, I wouldn't know the first thing about how to build a map for it. It's like I would literally just do it at random. So I didn't think I was the best person to do a promo for that. But like I said, Pursuit of Happiness, if they're doing put a video creator on a card and they want to do promos and they ask me to do something for it, I'd probably be up for that. What do we got? Legendary Alien and Predator are both good. I did like the Firefly one too, despite the unfortunate art. I don't have the X-Files one because I'm not massive on X-Files, but I do have Firefly in there as well. So I've got 4 Legendary games, and I like the Firefly game, but my God, what did they do to the art? Oh my God, the art was horrendous. I mean, seriously, who looked at that game and thought, yeah, we'll greenlight this artwork? Idiots. What do you think about a Predator reboot? I think it's going to fail. I mean, come on. Look, Predator 1 was fantastic. Predator 2 was decent. I found Predator 2 fine. It wasn't as good as the first one, but then you were never going to be as good as the first one. Then I loved Alien. Alien, I still think, is hands down the #1 horror film of all time. Aliens, fantastic. One of the top 10 action films of all time. Alien 3, director's cut. I can watch it. I don't mind it. It has problems, but I found the story fine. Alien Resurrection, too cartoony, too cheesy. Don't get Joss Whedon to make a horror film. But then, I mean, basically from Alien Resurrection onwards, all the Alien films suck. And then from Predator 2 onwards, all the Predator films, well, as far as I'm aware, they suck. I've not watched the recent Predator, which had the sort of big mother Predalien thing in there. I think it was with army people at an army base. I've not watched that, but I've not heard good things. I did watch Predators, which was on the alien planet, which was average. But all the Alien films I've liked. I mean, Alien versus Predator had some good moments, but mostly sucked. The Requiem was garbage. I hated, what was it called? Prometheus. I hated that one. That was horrible. Boring and stupid. And God, I have never seen such dumb people since, well, actually until Alien Covenant, which was just as bad, but slightly better. But basically, they butchered Aliens and Predator now. There's no way they're going to do a film as good as those ones again. So just stop. Just let it die. Let it die. I've got 2 Predator films and 2 Alien films. I'm good with that. What I'd rather they rebooted was more video games, because the Alien Isolation is one of the best PC games I have ever played. If you like Aliens, definitely get that. But I'd like to see some more computer games in that franchise. I'd like to see the TCG, what was it called? The Alien Predator TCG come back, because I used to play that in my teenage years at school, and we had such a blast with that. I'd love to see a modern version of that. So we got all the comments are coming here. Sorry, trying to clear my throat. Throat is getting a bit dry. Okay, what have we got? What other hobbies do you have? Well, right, I do have some. I say, I keep fit. So I go to the gym for weightlifting and swimming. I do that. Occasionally go out jogging. I've been doing that the last month because it's the only exercise I can get, but I like jogging as well. Just a bit harder on my legs. I like walking in the countryside, like hiking up hills, and I much prefer hill climbs. I'd rather do 5 miles up a really steep hill than 10 miles in a straight line, because I like to get to the top, say I've conquered this hill, and then I'm rewarded with views. Really like that. I obviously like movies and cinema and TV as much as the next person. I like video games, but mainly PC, but I would happily play a console game. I just don't own anything apart from a Switch, and I haven't played that in ages. What else? Obviously food. I like cooking. I like to cook, so I like to learn how to cook stuff. But I like eating out, so I'm a big foodie. Trying to think what else. There must be other hobbies, otherwise that doesn't sound very varied. Haven't played a musical instrument since college. Theatre. I like the theatre fine. I like sightseeing cities. Traveling. I mean, mostly it's generic stuff like everybody. I mean, who doesn't like traveling? Who doesn't like movies and theatre? Who doesn't like going out for food? But I mean, I suppose, yeah, gym and fitness. Gym and fitness, board games, video games, hiking, cooking. They would be the main hobbies I have. But I'm usually up for most things. I'll try anything once. Have you ever thought of opening your own games cafe? I have dreamed about opening my own games cafe, but it would not be viable. I do not have the money to open a games cafe. The problem is, when you've been an accountant, or in this case, like a chartered tax advisor for as long as I have, you get comfortable on the salary you're earning. And I've always thought like, oh yeah, it'd be great to run a games cafe. The problem is, it would also be a catastrophic reduction in my usual income, and it would just be a bit too jarring. I mean, part of me is like, cool, blimey, I'd love to do the blog full time. No chance. The blog doesn't make any money. There's no way it will ever make any money. So that would just be a suicide run. But then it'd be like, oh, why don't you quit your job and go work at the Dice Cafe? As much as I think that would be a dream job, just work in a board game cafe, again, the salary would cut down by a giant chunk, and I just don't think I can do that. So to take that much of a pay cut to go that, because I'm not going to stipulate exactly what I earn salary wise, but it's not minimum wage, let's put it that way. It's a chartered accountant. We're comfortable, but the problem is that it would be quite a drop to go work in a board game cafe or to open my own one, as much as I would love to do it. But I mean, who knows what the future holds? But even then, where would I open it? I mean, I wouldn't want to open it in Portsmouth because we have Dice. Dice is perfectly good. I support Dice. I would rather Dice carried on. To become a part owner of it, who knows? But then I'd still be doing my normal day job. So, I've dreamed about it. I think it would be cool. I'd love to just work in one if possible, but I just don't see my life going that direction. If you could get any board game ever made for Christmas, which would it be? Ever made? I don't really know. There's a fan of mine on Instagram who's going to send me a copy of Street Masters, which I think is some people have been saying I should play Street Masters because apparently if I like Sentinels in the Multiverse, I should like that. He's very kindly going to send me up a blinged copy of it. So fingers crossed I like it, because that's a very generous offer. But I hope I like it. I'll feel really bad if I don't. But that one I'm looking forward to trying out. Any board game ever made, so including the out of print ones, I can't really think. I mean, Street Masters is probably the thing I'm looking forward to more out of obscure stuff because I do need to try it. But with at the moment, if I can think of a game, I've probably already got it, already played it, already know where to find it. I don't desperately. There's no game I can think of where I'm like, oh, I've missed out on that. I'd love to get it because most of those games by Tom Vasel's law got reprinted. Mission Red Planet, Cleopatra Society of Architects, what was Atlantis Rising, On the Underground. Various games that I was interested in got reprinted. My query was already answered. I had a game cafe for so many years. How did that turn out? Are you still running it now? I mean, you say the word had, indicating past tense. Favorite gym day, as in chest, legs, arms, etc. Well, at the moment, I haven't. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen my trainer. Been doing it online and that, and it's hard to keep in touch. But I don't really have like a chest, arms, leg day thing. I mean, I basically go to him and say, look, my lower back needs work, so I need core. I mean, a lot of the stuff I do is core work because I've got a weak core, my lower back hurts, so I have to do a lot of that. But I suppose my favorite time, because we don't really do it as body parts, it's more of a kind of push, pull, and aerobic style thing. So I look forward. So the push will be lots of shoulder presses and chest presses, and the pull will be more, bent over rows and stuff like that, and deadlifts and stuff like that. I look forward more to the push day more than anything else. So I do like doing shoulder press work. I like doing chest presses and things like that. So chest and arms would probably be the favorite. Then probably back and shoulders. But then after that, my least favorite is legs. Legs is easily my least favorite because the pain barrier is so much harder to conquer with legs. It's why jogging is less preferable to swimming, because swimming is kinder on my legs and back and that, whereas running is like jolting my back, it's doing my knees in, and like within about 5 minutes of starting to run, it's like, oh, the legs don't like this, but come on, keep going. And it's just like, legs not my favorite. Predator 2, sort of underrated. I hate reboots. Every day is leg day. Say what? Every day is leg day. Oops, skipped a bit there. Aliens versus Predators. Is that a question? I mean, I didn't like the Alien versus Predator films. Or do you mean, are you talking about the card game? I mean, the card game was just called Alien Predator. It had purple backs on the cards. Actually, I wonder if I can find it. I haven't shared anything on the screen for ages. Let me try and find it. Aliens Predator CCG, I think it was, collectible card game. See if we can find some images. Here we go. Right, let's have a look. Right, so this was it. It had these backs. We played it in teens, and I don't know how well you can see the pictures here. Come on, can I? Nope, that's opened another tab. That's no good. I need to get it off images. I need to find a better way of doing this. Get it off Google Images. Maybe I can just load it on Board Game Geek, actually. Oh, yeah, it exists on Board Game Geek. Okay, here we go. So this was Aliens Predator. 1997. Yeah, we played it in secondary school. It says 2 to 3 players. I think you could do 4 eventually with the expansion. It allowed you to bring in humans and that. But this was so addictive. I mean, we were such fans of the Alien Predator franchise back then. And, I mean, it looks basic. I mean, this is your basic Alien Warrior, but it used screen caps for a lot of it. So this was the day and age when you were always using screen caps. And I must admit, they didn't necessarily choose the best screen caps. And then when they brought expansions out, they used all sorts of weird. Actually, this looks more like fan expansion stuff. Oh, these images are not the best for this game. Let's see if we can find some better ones. Here you go. Is that one for a bunch of cards? Yeah, I mean, like I say, they picked some really weird screen caps, so it would not work this day. I mean, it is dated. But this game was really cool because you had Marines, Aliens, and Predator, and each person had their own deck, and you could deck build. So you could use a starter deck, or you could customize which Predator you used, what Alien Queen you used, what Marines you used. They had different health stats and abilities, but they played so differently. They had different winning conditions. This was at an age where that sort of thing was unheard of. And the Marines would be kitted out with a lot of cool guns, and there's more of them, but they're weak. like an alien warrior could kill one of them in an instant if they haven't got any armor on, and they're like mincemeat to a predator. But there was more of them with lots of cool guns. They had the powerful guns in bulk, and they could lock doors, and they were trying to either kill aliens and predator or save a lot of bystanders. The alien was just about swarming, so they either covered the entire battleground in their high sticky goo stuff, or they wiped everyone out. But the aliens had different types of aliens. You could get the face huggers, you could have chest bursters and that. You could actually infect marine characters with eggs, drag them back, and hatch like face huggers out of them. If a marine found a staff worker in a location, the alien could come, drag the staff worker away, and put an egg in it, and then get another alien. It was great. And the predator, one predator, but you were armored up to the max. You had your cool tech. You could pick what you like. It was really cool. We really enjoyed this game. Who did I like play most? Usually the aliens, I think. But yeah, was not the best for imagery. Has to be said. I mean, that is supposed to be a corporate agent, and it's the flashlight with a marine poking his head out of the rate. I mean, it literally, whoever came up with the idea of using these screen caps really didn't know what they were doing. But, and like I say, it was fairly basic, but it was just such a fun game to play. I didn't care. But yeah, I missed that game. I'd love that to be rebooted. This is the way. Did I kickstart Nemesis? Yes, I did. I was just going to do Lockdown, and then for some bizarre reason, I got talked into going all in. Why? I have no idea. I was a completionist, and I don't even know if I love Nemesis or not. I mean, I don't know what it was that convinced me. Something convinced me. Something about the value of the pledge convinced me. But I think it was they were doing a solo mode with an app, whereas previously I think the solo mode was a bit clunky. And it's like, oh, cool, a revised solo mode, great. Lockdown seemed good, and I thought, yeah, but I'd just like to have all the agents because I've had fun playing Nemesis. The problem is I don't want to play Nemesis with too many players, and it does go on a bit long. So I'm very picky about who I play it with. But a friend of mine has it, and when I play it with him, I have a good time. Funniest story I remember actually was, I'll say it very quick, was because we've got 8 minutes left. We played the game, found some aliens, did the research. I set the coordinates for where I wanted to go, and I was in a good state. One character had already died, and the other one was just getting out of the pod. I mean, he was like getting swarmed by aliens, so he just wanted to escape and at least stay alive. I thought I was in a good stead. I thought, we're going to the right planet. So-and-so's dead. I'm good. The queen appears. Uh-oh, run away, get around. I can't get to an escape pod. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. I'm going to the right place, and I'm protected in the sleeping pods. So I'll just get in the sleeping pods. So I just got in. It's like, la la la. Agent's like clawing at the screen because it can't eat you while you're in there. And I'm just like saying, I was probably saying something a bit more ruder than that, but family-friendly show. But, I was basically like, yeah, I was being cocky. I thought, yeah, I'm in good. The thing is, whilst I was in there, the other player was trying to get out through the escape pod. During that time, an event happened which caused the reactor to malfunction, which then caused it to activate self-destruct. So I went to bed kind of thinking, like everything's all great. But then before the sleep goes off, well, actually, no, after the sleep's gone on, like I'm already asleep at this point. I'm like comatose unconscious. So I've got no idea this is going on in thematic reality. But basically, the self-destruct activated, and the ship blew up after I went to sleep. So it's like we all lost. He went flying off into space, into the middle of nowhere, where I'd set the coordinates to, and I basically died in my sleep. It was like the most stupidest ending ever. But it's just like the best scene of like, I'm so cocky, I won this, and then that happened. So I do enjoy the game. So I'm hoping it will be worth the pledge, because as you could see, it was expensive. As an accountant, what do you think economic games get wrong? It's not that they get anything wrong. I mean, as an economic game, they work. I give Brass respect, even though I don't like Brass. But the problem is that I do economic stuff as a day job, dividends and tax returns and, accounting related bits. I play board games and video games to escape from reality. I mean, my favorite economic game is Predator. That is about the fashion industry. I don't know nothing about fashion, but it's a different thing. It's escapism. I need to get rid of Small World of Warcraft at some point, actually. I think that will go on the coal pile. But, Automobiles, a racing game. Sentinels in the Multiverse. I'm a superhero. I love superheroes. Cthulhu, Star Wars. All of it is escapism. The problem is, economic games are too true to real life. They feel too much like I'm doing my day job. I don't find them interesting. I don't find my day job fun. My day job is challenging. It tests my brain cells. It keeps my math skills high, and it pays the bills and then some. That's why I do it. It's a secure job for life. I don't do it because I wake up in the morning and go, yay, I get to be an accountant today. It's like, no, I'd do that if I was working in a game cafe. But, waking up for an accountant job, I'm barely willing to get out of bed. So the problem is that it's not that they get anything wrong. I just find them too true to life, which makes them a bit too boring for me. Some economic games are good fun, but for the most part, I'm just like, yeah, I do this sort of stuff all the time. Can we do something fun, please? And it just doesn't work for me. All right, 5 minutes, and I've fallen behind a bit. Right, so let's have a look. Would you rattle off a few of your favorite PC games or video games? Right, okay, so Alien Isolation, fantastic. The Tomb Raider reboots, all fantastic. I'm obsessed with Deep Rock Galactic at the moment, the dwarf mining co-op game, really good. I still play the Left 4 Deads. I'm currently playing Stellaris with some friends. That's a good space empire game. Thinking of getting Crusader Kings 3, might be quite cool. I'm playing Monster Hunter World at the moment with 3 friends on Friday nights. That's been good fun so far. What are the games? Oh, trying to think of the ones that I've played in the past. Outlast, not Outlast 2, the first Outlast, fantastic. Come on, other things. Resident Evil 7 was pretty good. We used to play on Friday nights Don't Starve Together. That was a good laugh. There's a lot of games I do enjoy, but yeah, I mean, some of those ones that I mentioned have just been like, yeah, classics. Absolutely adore them. Oh yeah, Doom Eternal. Yep, always really good. Mainly just shoot 'em up. So used to be a big Battlefield fan before EA screwed that franchise up. Okay. I prefer to do 5 miles in the car. Come on, you live in New Zealand, man. You should have like the most gorgeous scenery to walk around. Running out of breath. Hopeful that the upcoming Gale Force 9 Alien game will be good, focusing on the Marines. Yes, I hope so as well. Favorite dish to cook? I mean, it's kind of the same thing, really, but I love chili and I like curries. So if I'm cooking a curry or cooking the chili, especially, I think cooking the slow cooked chili, 2 to 3 hours, keep it going, dark chocolate, the works and that. Do enjoy that. Traveling, doesn't like traveling. Okay, fine. Dune reprint is fine. Have I tried Gale Force 9's Doctor Who game Time of the Daleks? Yes, I have. I found it boring. It's just a luck-filled dice game at the end of the day. I mean, I like Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. But just because you put Doctor Who on a game doesn't mean I'm going to love it. It's fine for what it is, but I just didn't really enjoy it that much. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Am I falling behind? Is this what it's like to fall behind? Where am I? All right. I'm going to have to try and zoom through this. Right. Don't ask any more questions because I won't be able to get to them. I'd love that you went on a European tour to board game cafes. Did I go on a European tour to board game cafes, or is that something I should do? I mean, maybe I should. I know people watch the show from places like Belgium and Netherlands and Germany and that. It'd be cool to visit a few board game cafes around. Norway, that'd be good. Sweden, Switzerland, Poland. Doctor Who's terrible. Elder Sign. Do I like Doctor Who? Oh no, that's that John. But yeah, I love Doctor Who. Love it, love it, love it. Especially the older series. I was always a fan of the classic series as a kid. Dark Horse Comics. There's a lot of stuff being discussed. I did not go for any tiers of Pursuit of Happiness. Artipia are going to send me the expansion and the big box and that for doing those 2 videos for them. I did a solo play and an overview. Go check out those videos. But if I was going to back it, I would have gone full deluxe components and expansion and that. But yeah. Have I played the old Aliens game for Leading Edge? Nope, have not. I don't know anything about it, I'm afraid. Considering how much he loves the game and can play about storage, I would have thought at least big box plus expansion. For what? What game is this for? I expect Pursuit of Happiness then we're talking about. Space Hulk, pretty good. Got to try and wrap this up. Sold my Nemesis, like it, but didn't beat Dead of Winter. Okay, fine. Red Sandman by Neil Gaiman. I don't read. I still haven't even finished my Arkham Horror short story book in the other room. I know nothing about books. I don't read very much apart from rule books. You're all discussing books though. This is good. So I'm glad that people are engaging in some good conversation. Dark Horse stories. Thanks for a great Q&A. Thank you. Thank you. Should I question cut off? Lol. Last orders, please. Yeah, Barrage sucks. I didn't like Barrage. Yeah, thanks for trying to weigh me out there. So, yeah. So, hang on. Where's that comment? I need to hide this thing. So, look at that. Pointless banner and tickers and that. But yeah, like I say, I'm going to work on getting the rest of the StreamYard sort of properly done. Whether I've got to buy a theme package or find somebody to design a template for me, we shall see. But I need something a bit different to just this, like a red banner or something. I need something to look a little bit more professional when I'm doing stuff with guests. Glad that the audio is functioning though, despite the laptop noise. That's good. So nobody's complained about that. Webcam's good. I mean, this software can only do 720p, but this looks perfect at 720p. Light source seems to be pretty good. Like I say, the banners and the highlighting comments work fine. I know about the character limit now. All I need to do is populate some videos on here to do transitions with top 10s and that. But then, and obviously I need to test having a guest on the show for a top 10. I suppose Board Game Ramblings will have to be the guinea pig, won't you? I know they're not in the chat today, but hopefully they'll watch this later and they'll get that in mind. So yeah, hour and a half. Now's a good time. So I really am running out of voice, so definitely struggling a bit. But cheers everybody who's been in this stream and kept up the chat and a lot of questions. This was good. I mean, I had some good Patreon ones there. I actually struggled to get through all the questions for a change, which is different to usual. So Coffee Maker, Mom, John Stowe, Jay, Kabuki, Chewy, Sean, Gems, David, who's got Vala, all these other people that have turned up. I'm just literally scrolling very fast through the things and just reading out names. But yeah, thank you all for turning up. Ajan, Kirks, yep. Have a good time, everybody. Thanks for turning up. I'll do another Q&A in December. This will be post-lockdown ending, so hopefully there'll be a bit more gaming-related stuff to talk about. But yeah, you can look forward to that one, which by then, hopefully I'll have done a top 10 with a guest by then, and maybe just got the hang of StreamYards in general. But thanks again to the Patreons who have helped make this StreamYard thing possible. Now I've just got to refine it now that I've actually got it. So take care, everybody. Time to end. Remember, it's only a game, and I will see you on the next show. So stay safe wherever you are. Love you all, and I'll see you soon. Take care.